Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do a bullet journal setup with you. I'm moving from my pink lectern to a new one, and I'm switching up the layout a little bit, so I thought it'd be fun to show you what I'm going to do. So this is my original bullet journal. It is a lectern with plain paper. I don't like lines, and with my photosensitivity and Mears-Arlen syndrome, the dotted paper causes me a real problem. So I opted for plain. If I open it up, you will see that I'm not quite finished. I have set up until the end of August. However, because I've just had my PIP tribunal, it's been very stressful. It's been very stressful more than a year, and I've explained in a bit more detail in my comeback video. I'm not sure what I'll have titled it yet because I haven't filmed it, but I will link it for you. It's been very stressful, and I really feel like a new start is in order. So I have picked up a new bullet journal, and I thought I would show you what I've done in my original and how I'm going to shift it up for my new bullet journal, and do a little bit of a setting up my bullet journal with you. As I got on so well with my plain lectern notebook, I decided to go for exactly the same thing but pick a different colour, so it really felt like I had a new start, not only to my bullet journal but to life in a way, moving forward, being able to have the support I need, buy the aids I need to make my life a bit easier. And I just want to apologise in advance if I sound a little bit out of breath. I'm having some difficulty with my postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome at the moment, and that makes me quite breathless. When I started my original bullet journal, I found it really beneficial to plan out what kind of things I wanted, where I was going to put them, and so I thought I'd do the same with this bullet journal. I know I'm using the other one as a basis, but I am switching things around a little bit in terms of where they're placed in the journal, and I thought it would be really helpful to show you how I went about doing that. I'm quite a visual person, so I found it helpful to write down all of the collections or areas, everything I wanted to include in my bullet journal on a separate post-it note, and then have a think how it was going to fit into my journal. So my previous journal had a page I created for self-care steps. Thought it would be really great to have that as my first double spread in my new journal, because self-care is something I really struggle with. In my previous journal I also have a list of Twitter chats, so I know what's going on when. Again, that's going to be at the beginning of the book. Now in my original bullet journal I actually included the Twitter chats at the back, but this time I've decided that I just want to have the back for making notes on doctor's appointments. I've got a blog post about how I do this, so I will link that above. I just want to keep it separate. So instead of here, I've just got my calendar and then my weekly, and then we're back into a calendar again. I thought I would incorporate some of the things like blog stats into the main section rather than having it at the back. Now the beauty of planning this out with post-it notes is that if you change your mind about the order you want something, you can just peel the post-it note off and move it. There's no mark left on your bullet journal at all. I'm quite a tactile person, so I like to be able to plan out in this way. It's not going to suit everyone, so whatever works best for you, go for it, but definitely consider something like this, particularly if you're just starting out with bullet journaling. For my original bullet journal, I put the post-it notes in and probably left it for a couple of weeks, just so that I could move things around, have a think. If there was something else I wanted to add, I could add it before making a mark on the journal and making a layout permanent. But this time around, I think I've got a much clearer idea of what I want, how I want it to work, and how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to get started and just lay out the bare bones of what I want so that I can start filling it in, ready to use in June. First thing to do is copy out the all-important key. I'm going to cheat with this and draw around my radar key. Now you can see, compared to my old key, I've changed task migrated from this arrow to this arrow. I just prefer it. I've gotten rid of note. I don't think I've ever used that. I don't think I've ever used priority either. Birthday was one I added in myself and is really useful. Positive, I was writing down 3 positives at the end of each day, but I've got problems with my memory, so I ended up forgetting to do it most of the time. So I'm going to get rid of that and try to include something different that I'm hoping I will be able to get on better with. So the first double spread I've got laid out is going to be for my self-care steps. All I'm going to do to start off with is just create a nice little header so that I can then fill in my tips and tricks and things I like to do for self-care. Next is my Twitter chats. This is my original. I'm just going to make the days smaller so I have a bit more room to fit in the number of Twitter chats that are going on. After Twitter chats, I have marked in to have retweet accounts. Now in my original bullet journal, these were just to a page. I'm actually going to separate them out onto 2 pages in my new bullet journal. One page for general retweet accounts and the other for either specifically fashion or specifically beauty accounts, so that I can keep track there of niche accounts as well as general. And then I'm going to have a little section where I'm going to put some hashtags that accounts will retweet if you use that particular hashtag. And here's the Twitter chats and retweet accounts filled in. So something else I wanted to do was to have a birthdays and awareness calendar separate from my standard yearly calendar section of my bullet journal. I am appalling at remembering people's birthdays. I really want to start sending people birthday cards, but obviously I would need to remember their birthday to be able to do that. And I love marking awareness weeks in some way, or awareness months, but if I don't know they're coming up, I can't plan things. So I think it'd be really useful to have a page in my bullet journal so that I can be prepared. As I only set 1 month up in advance, I'm going to add a calendar section to use as a future log. Next, I want to have a double page for my blog goals. I'm just going to set the header up to mark where the page is, and then I'll go back and fill it in. Next, I want to have my yearly stats done monthly. So I'm going to have a page for a yearly overview. It's going to run from June to December. There are a couple of things I wanted to add in addition to what I've already been tracking in my previous bullet journal. I've currently got blog loving, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Tumblr, email and YouTube. And I'd like to track my Alexa ranking, as well as domain authority and page authority, which I've previously done separately. Second double page for my blog stats is going to be for things like sessions, users, page views, all of the Google Analytics stuff. I'm going to keep all of the categories the same. I'm just going to have them in months rather than each week. After my yearly trackers, I'm going to pop in a monthly, which is going to look like this. I really like this layout and the to-do side of things, although at the moment I use the to-do side a lot for blog related bits and pieces, but I'm doing some charity volunteering with the Hypermobility Syndrome Association, Migraine Action and Light Aware, as well as having some other little projects. So I'm going to use that space for those kind of things to remind me what I need to do, and then I've decided this time to have a monthly blog schedule to separate the blogging bits and pieces out a little bit. Next I want to set up a section, a monthly blog schedule and planner section. Previously I'd been doing all of this in my sort of daily planning, so I'd plan a post in pencil, and then once it was done I would write it out in pen and then colour a green box around it. Because I'm starting back with YouTube, I'd just like to have a little bit more organisation, everything in one place. So I think this is going to be a helpful thing to do. And if you can hear a cat crying, we've got a visitor. Say hello. Say hi, Mummy's friends. You just want to explore, don't you? To get a better view of how my stats are doing, I'm going to be doing them, writing them down monthly and weekly. So in my next section after my vlog schedule and ideas, I'm going to be creating something for the weekly. Because it's only weekly, I'm going to have one page for social media and one page for the actual Google Analytics. Now the main benefit for a big grid like this for me, as opposed to something smaller, is that I will be able to not only write down the numbers, but I'll be able to put in small whether it's up or down from the previous week, which I think is going to be really helpful. After my weekly stats tracker, I'm going to have a sort of weekly diary section. It's going to look pretty much the same as this. This setup works really nicely for me because I've got lots of room for all of the days, and whereas a standard diary would have Saturday and Sunday split into two, and they used to be the days that I actually had most to write down on, with my bullet journal I can keep them the same amount of space as everywhere else. Because June doesn't start at the beginning of the week, I will have the last 3 days of May within my new bullet journal. Finish off the spread for the month with a positivity section, so I'm going to write down one positive from each day. I didn't do very well with my 3 positives every day. I kept forgetting to write them down. I'm hoping that if I just do it once as a sort of a sun with beams coming off, if I just do one thing a day, then even if I forget to do it one day, I can go in and write it, and I can remember and write something in for that day. That's my hope. If it doesn't work out, I won't include this section for next month. The other thing I want to try is a worry dump. I'm hoping I will find it easier to process and just put to one side. I find it particularly difficult at night, so if I've got somewhere I can just park the worry, hopefully that'll help me get to sleep a bit better. Again, it's something I'm going to have a go at and see what happens. So thank you very much for watching. I'm going to have a post about bullet journaling for bloggers, things like the type of stats you can record and how you can lay those out in your bullet journal over on my blog, which I will link for you. I think it's this side now. I've also previously written a post on bullet journaling doctor's appointments, which I will also link here and in the description bar below. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will speak to you soon. Bye!